Here we are back in the studio. It's just me and Dylan now. Dan the Man, thank you for coming in. Dan the Man from Hasbrook Heights coming into the studio tonight to talk everything baseball. Me and Dylan now we're going to jump in and talk about the AL West, give our thoughts, and now we'll probably go a little bit quicker on these since we really want to get to the Red Sox Yankees. That'll probably be, out of the last 25 minutes, that'll probably be the 15 of the 25 minutes, 20 of the 25 minutes. So we'll touch the AL Central really quick. We'll start off with, I guess, we'll start at the bottom again like we did with the other divisions. Yeah. Oakland Athletics. Start off with them. Not really much talent on that team. That's another team that just doesn't spend money. The Moneyball mentality's fallen apart over the last few years, which they've had a lot of talent in the last 2 or 3 years, but you see guys like Matt Chapman get traded, Mark Canha gone, Stalin Marte gone, Jed Lowry gone, Elvis Andrus gone.
And they just traded Sean Murphy.
Sean Murphy gone, Frankie Montas gone.
Yes.
Sean Manaea gone.
Well, they dodged a bullet with that one.
Yes, with Montas, yes. Sean Murphy, like you said, probably the best player going into the season.
Yes,
he's gone.
is traded.
And now their best overall player is, I guess, Tony Kemp. Yeah, Tony Kemp's the leadoff hitter.
Tony Kemp or,
Ramon Laureano's.
Their rotation, they do have...
let me go to the rotation. I do have it.
Caprillion,
yep.
Is decent. Blackburn was decent last year before he got hurt. And
yep.
Is
Caprillion, he's there. He's there for it. And then Blackburn's hurt.
Okay, he's still, yeah. He did make the All-Star. He was solid last year. And then...
they got him in that trade for Sean Murphy, yep.
Yeah. J.P. Sears, their number 5, was one of the top pitchers in the Yankees farm system. Was part of the Frankie Montas trade. Was solid with them last year, I want to say. But basically just coming on AAA and wasn't going to be starting for the Yankees, became part of that trade.
3.86 ERA last year, 6-3 record, 17 games, 11 starts. Not bad.
Pretty solid.
He should probably be there one. Kyle Muller was there one. I look at the stats here. 1-1 record, 8.03 ERA.
I think it's mostly just experience.
3 games that we only pitched last year.
Right.
So
I think it's random who. I think.
Caprillion
is probably the best pitcher they have healthy right now. I have Waldichuk.
Blackburn,
too.
if he were to be
Waldichuk's another
Waldichuk, I forgot about. Yeah, Ken Waldichuk's actually solid. Yep.
But yeah, they're going to be really bad. They might be the worst team in the league. Depends on how their pitching is, really. Yeah,
Caprillion's 4.23 ERA last year, 5.9 record. But yeah, he's probably the best pitcher overall. I would agree. First round picks of the Yankees, like you said. And then Sears as well. I mean, he's decent numbers there in just 17 games last year. I think he'd probably be their best pitcher if he were to pin out, continue onto that track. Obviously, Paul Blackburn, if he were to be healthy, but he will be out for some time. But look at that lineup. Tony Kemp's, I guess, their best player. Jesus Aguilar is probably their best power hitter.
He was, there's a reason why he's with the Athletics now and not anyone else. His power's kind of gone.
And then I guess Chase Peterson, he was good a couple years ago with the Brewers.
Yeah, Laureano's decent defensively, but that's really it.
Chase Peterson was good 2 years ago, I believe, if I remember right. Let's see. 2 years ago, hit 6 home runs, 10 bases, 247 batting average. Pretty consistent, actually, over the last couple of years. Nothing crazy, but he's the 3 or 5 hitter projected. And then Laureano, like you said, pretty good fielder, too. Laureano probably could be a guy they always do that. We'll just trade guys mid-season at the deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if they would do that. But he's not the youngest. No, he's 28. I thought he was like 26, but maybe he's a guy they move at the deadline. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's the A's. I guess not really much to say about that team. It's going nowhere. Team going nowhere. We'll move on to which Mariners are the best team there, and one of the best teams. I guess the Astros probably the best, but I guess the Rangers, dive into them.
Yeah, it's the Rangers.
Rangers probably the best team up.
Very interesting, just because
DeGrom and Evaldi, Nate the Great.
Yes, I mean, just they're doing the opposite of what most teams are doing, which is like most teams are tanking for 5 years to finally have a good team and then not spending money. They haven't intentionally tanked at all. They've just spent an absolute boatload of money.
Yeah.
First, on last year, they did Seager and Semien, and then this year adding...
Nate the Great.
Jake
DeGrom.
And DeGrom.
Yeah, and Heaney they got, too.
And Heaney, yeah. So they added 3 pitchers to the rotation. I still don't think they're very good.
Consider where the rotation could be, though. Like, with they're much better. I think you get DeGrom, Evaldi, they're 2 good pitchers there. Majin Perez was actually pretty good last year, one of the better starters in the AL.
And John Gray is good, too. Like, all of their pitchers are good.
Yeah.
But...
You look at their lineup, Young, Josh Young, first-round pick, Young.
Jonah Heim was solid.
Adolis Garcia, young, second, third-year guy.
They've got some perfectly solid guys in the lineup, but just...
Probably not going far at all.
I mean, last year, even with all the money they spent, they still finished well below 500.
Yeah.
And I just don't think structurally you can build a team by just throwing a bunch of money at it without having the farm system to back it up.
Definitely. I would agree. I think that team could get, let's see what they were last year. 68, 94. I was going to give them around 74.
68 wins.
I would say 74 to 76 wins. I think they'll be 5 to 8 below 500. I mean, consider the pitching's much better than it was. Actually, Perez was there number 1 last year. Now you add Nate and Jacob deGrom. I mean, that's 2 good pitchers there. That's not a bad rotation, like you said. It's younger batters. Adolis Garcia was really good a couple years ago as a rookie.
Yeah, and Josh Young at third base. He didn't get to start all of last year. He's technically going to be a rookie coming into this
first
year
round
as well.
pick. Yeah. 5 home runs and 98 at bats. Pretty good. He'll 204 batting.
He'll definitely be a contributor.
Hot spring though.
And that's definitely an upgrade. But that is basically it.
Is that how you pronounce it? Young. Is it Young or Jung? I thought it was Jung. Might be Young, though. That would make more sense, probably. I could be wrong there. I apologize there for screwing up. But he had 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 321 batting average, and a 968 OPS in 53 games in spring training. Once again, small sample size. If you compare it to his 204 batting average last year and 98 at-bats, 53 at-bats is pretty similar, just so it's sample size, 321 he hit. So, obviously a better spring. Hopefully things, go in the right direction for him. I do like some players on that team. I obviously love Nate. I like DeGrom a ton. And I do root for Seager as well. I like him when he's on the Dodgers. I root for them to do well.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think they're all talented. I just think
the division's tough too.
It's a very tough division, and I think they've got a lot of issues that they haven't really solved by throwing money at it.
Definitely.
So I think they're probably going to finish 4th again.
$500 million on Seager and Simeon. So I would probably say second to last, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. So
next up is
Angels.
I was going to say Angels, which I'm all about the Angels.
Very, very interesting.
I am all about the Angels this year. If you look at what they looked like last year in their lineup, when Ohtani and Trout were healthy, that was really most of their offensive production.
Yes.
Luis Rengifo is probably one of their better hitters as well. Taylor Ward had some stretches in there. Yes. Jared Walsh had some stretches in, but now they add guys. So now they're 6 through 9 is better.
Yeah. So I wanted to say was that
they're
5 through 9 hitters by OPS plus, which is a rate. Which is an efficiency stat for hitting.
For OPS, yep.
Yeah, OPS
base
plus.
Slug and proficiency, yep.
Their OPS plus in the 5 through 9 slots was worse than Joey Gallo's last year. 5 through 9. So, outside of obviously having 2 of the best hitters in baseball, they had 5 of the worst hitters in baseball behind them. So, unsurprisingly, a pretty bad offense. But they did add a lot of players. They got Brandon Drury, who I think is going to play second for them.
Second base, first base, second. He plays first, second, and short. He's kind of a utility guy, but probably first and second, yep.
Rendon will hopefully be healthy.
Hopefully. I really hope so, actually. I'd love to see him fully healthy.
And then
Urshela. Gio Urshela from Yankee.
And they're projecting him at short?
Short.
I guess it's possible.
He played short right for the Yankees lately, right?
He played short. He played short a lot more with Cleveland. With us, he mostly played third, but he started as defensive specialist. I could see him being a starter there. Rengifo was
good. He was there.
Was really good.
He had 17 home runs last year, 260 batting average somewhere around there. He was solid.
Taylor Ward was
he's good. When he's healthy, he's good.
I mean, went on a crazy tear and then fell off, but he's a young player.
He was to be expected. Great. When they were great, like just about when we got out of school last year, like May 20th, he was
right before they had the 14-game losing streak.
Yes. Oh, I'm not even going to mention my project. I'm not going to give any predictions here because I don't want to jinx them again. I did a prediction around that.
We both jinxed them.
Because it was just fun. You want to see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani win. 2 of the best players in baseball. I would argue the 1 and 2 in baseball.
And also Logan O'Hoppe, who I don't know.
Right?
Yes, I don't know if he's definitely made the roster yet. I'd have to double check, but he's coming at AAA.
Max Stassi too. They got too.
Right. So with Max Stassi being hurt, O'Hoppe will probably be the catcher. So that's another probable upgrade because Stassi's good defensively, but he's a catcher. He's not very good at hitting.
Nevin said Urshela will stop, by the way, at short. So I guess
all right
with all the moving pieces he said.
Yeah,
so we'll see. But
that probably makes sense. I guess maybe Rengifo. They don't really have
a second, I guess.
They don't really have another shortstop on the roster.
I would say Urshela he's had time at short. Probably put him there.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Jose Iglesias a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And then last year they had Andrew Velazquez.
Yes, Velazquez. Yes, he's gone.
Who had a crazy good year defensively at short.
Struggled hitting a little, but he's good defensively though. Yeah.
Oh, he was excellent. And they're
from a Yankee too.
Yes, and the rotation also took a lot of steps up.
I was going to say, I think the rotation is very underrated. I think people say, the Angels have no pitching. 1, 2, 3 is pretty good.
They've got potential.
1, 2, 3 is pretty good. You got
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani, Patrick Sandoval, and Tyler Anderson as your 1, 2, 3. Reed Detmers, solid 4.
Right.
Jose Suarez, not a bad to have. They have 3 lefties or 4 lefties in that rotation, which is interesting. Which might actually be an advantage for them.
Yeah, I mean, Detmers and Sandoval both were young guys coming up last year and didn't really get going until the second half of the season when basically it was over. But you know, if they can replicate that second half of the season, that's a very solid lineup or rotation. And the only question mark to me is Tyler Anderson.
Got that big payday.
Got a big payday,
Atlanta,
and when pitchers leave the Dodgers...
Dodgers it was, yeah.
It's rare for a pitcher to leave the Dodgers and replicate that success.
Yeah, 2.57 ERA last year.
Yeah, he pitched really well.
15-5 record for the Dodgers, yeah.
But that's with the Dodgers had one of the best defenses behind him.
All around, yeah. Trey Turner's great at short.
Yeah, they're the Dodgers.
They're good all around. They're good all around.
They're the Dodgers. It's like
Rookie bats, Freddie Freeman. Those are gold gloves right there.
Like they had 5 gold gloves. And then meanwhile, you have the Angels are going to be starting Gio at short, which he hasn't really played full-time shortstop in years.
Yeah.
So that's a big question mark to me.
It's a decent lineup, though.
It's a very talented team.
You also had a Hunter Renfroe, so you had power. So let's look at the 5 through 9 now. Right? 5 through 9 last year struggled. You had Velasquez in there. You had Brandon Marsh even in there before they traded him.
Tyler Wade.
Tyler Wade, yep. Tyler Wade was in there. Now the 5 through 9 is Hunter Renfroe, Brandon Drury, Renfroe, Logan O'Hoppe, and then Gio Urshela. That's solid 5 through 9.
It's
1 through 4 is great. I mean, if Renfroe can stay healthy, that 1 through 4 is great.
That 1 through 4 might be the best in the league.
Yeah, Mike Trout, Ohtani, and 1 and 2
exactly.
That's why I want to see them win. And I know my friend Timmy Loftus. You actually were talking to Timmy on here a few weeks ago, talking about March Madness. He said, a few weeks ago, when he said that, Red Sox, weren't making any moves. It was right around the beginning of the offseason. And he said, I'm still a Red Sox fan, but give me another team I can root for. And I said the Angels. I said because Mike Trout, Ohtani, very easy to root for. So I would agree with you there. That's a team that you can, talk about and root for.
And just to, I guess, wrap it up, I would say. Only concern for me is Phil Nevin being the manager.
He was named manager. What a beast. Dude, he was thrown out last year. Manager rejections.
He loves getting thrown out. He was a former third base coach for the Yankees and got fired because he was such a bad third base coach, which is pretty tough to do.
Yeah, it's honestly impressive.
I understand wanting to go with continuity when you're the Angels. Like, you're looking for stability. But I don't know.
Yeah,
it's concerning.
I would agree. You probably don't want your coach getting thrown out every single game.
Yeah,
I would imagine not. But it's funny though, considering
So I could see them. I could see them competing for second in this division.
I would agree. I think honestly they're going to be a playoff team, and I have them. They haven't made the playoffs in 8 years. Second longest or the longest drought with the Detroit Tigers. So I think they break it this year. And hot take of mine, whenever I do my full predictions, which we're giving our predictions now, but I want to do like a win-loss one, which I didn't have the time to do. I actually think they could go, which big hot take probably. I think they could go to the ALCS if they put everything together. Hot take, but I think I'm rooting for them to do it. I'll say that I'm rooting for them to do it, and that's why I think they can do it.
Anything's
just because I want them to.
Anything is possible.
Just because I want them to. But we could jump up to Seattle, I guess, right? Seattle's next.
Yeah, let's do Seattle.
Seattle and then the Astros. I guess.
Finish out. Yes.
So I'll let you start with Seattle.
So off-season moves, they moved a lot of players.
They did.
Mitch Haniger,
gone,
who was playing left field, is gone. Frazier, who was playing second base, is gone. Carlos Santana, who was their first baseman and DH, is gone. And then they added Teoscar Hernandez, who's going to be
in a trade,
or
trade for a reliever in a minor league. He's going to be playing right.
They have him right, so
right or left. He's primarily the one.
Right. And then Colton Wong from the Padres will probably be at second. I will have to say I'm biased.
Brewers it was for one.
Brewers, there you go.
Same thing. The Brewers, Seattle, the St. Louis. Brewers, Seattle. I'm sorry, keep going, Michael.
No. I'm biased. I really like this Mariners team. I think they're a lot of fun. And we haven't even talked about the rotation. I was going
to say, I know you're a big Castillo guy.
Yes.
You like him a lot.
I mean, I think this is just such a talented young team. I think Julio Rodriguez is just incredible. I mean, he's
future baseball.
Younger than me, I think.
Yeah, I can check his age.
He was 21 last year.
He's 21 still,
and wasn't. I mean,
He's turned 22 already.
Okay, so he's a little older than me. There you go.
December 29, 2000.
Okay. Yeah.
28 home runs last year, 75 RBIs, 284 batting average, 854 OPS. In spring training, 2 home runs and a 1237 OPS and 36 at-bats. So you can the numbers speak for itself. Watch him play, too.
He's a great player. He plays with swagger.
25 stolen bases last year. I didn't even mention the stealing.
No, he's one of the few guys you could say is a legit, 30 stolen base, 30 home run candidate.
Acuna and him, yeah.
Right. And he...
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Cedric Mullins
can't say enough about
2021.
him. Yes. That being said, there's issues.
Bullpen.
Bullpen. Jared Kelenic.
I'd say middle of the lineup, too. Middle lineup's 5 through 9. 5 through 8, 5 through 9's.
Jared Kelenic, very highly touted prospect, originally with the Mets.
Mets, right? Yeah, Mets. Yeah.
Part of trade.
With Robinson Cano, right?
Yes. He is crushes it in AAA, but hasn't been able to figure it out at the major league level yet.
141
last year.
141 batting
in 160 at bats, which is not small.
Fourth of the season, third of the season, he played an amount. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's tough because
career.
You have to. You have to think that at some point he's going to figure it out because
first round pick 2018 to the Mets, 6th overall.
Yeah, and I mean in AAA he hits 300. Easy. And he's only 23, so it's not like, he's not stuck in AAA. That's a normal time for a...
Came straight from high school, too. It's a jump.
It's tough. But he is their presumed starter of left field. So that's a real open question of how much he's going to produce.
Suarez strikes out on you. Eugenio Suarez strikes out a ton.
He's hot and cold.
Hits home runs, though. He can get hot, though. Yeah. He hit 35 home runs.
Him at your 6-header, I think that's pretty comfortable.
Not bad.
To be in. Yeah.
Yeah, the 7-9's iffy, like we said. I'd say the middle, end of the line, not really the middle of the line. 31 home runs last year, 236 batting average of Suarez.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think their rotation very good. Robbie Ray, former Cy Young, did take a little bit of a step back last year. Yes. Let's see what his average 3.71 ERA last year, 106 ERA though in 5 games of spring training. So maybe he's back.
Yeah, but Castillo was lights out last year.
After they traded for him.
Once they traded for
Cincinnati,
him. Logan Gilbert was a rookie last year. Yep. Killed it. All the young guys killed it, but especially Logan Gilbert.
They're a fun team to watch.
They're a fun team to watch. They're super talented. They're almost all young players. I mean, we talk about Cal Raleigh, another guy who just got pulled up, hit some home runs. He's got some room to grow, but
27 home runs last year.
Yeah,
wow.
27 home runs. Only a 211 batting average, but you take what you can get from
the 773 OPS.
Yeah. Just a fun player, fun team. I would love to see them win the division over the Astros.
I would too.
It would be a dream.
I would too.
But it's probably not going to happen, but we can dream.
But I think they'll be in the conversation. They have a bright future, the Astros, I would say. I mean, a bright future. But
the issue was last year was anytime they got close, they would play a series against the Astros and blow it.
Yeah.
They can't keep doing that. They're going to have to beat the Astros at some point if they want to win the division.
I mean, I think the rotation might actually be better than the Astros rotation. I'm looking at the rotations here. It's close. It's close.
We'll get to them.
I would say the Astros still have a better rotation. Considering those young guys, though, in that Mariners rotation, a couple of years from now. Could be. Framber Valdez is great.
Yeah.
Javier's good. Urquidy's good. I mean, I'd probably I would give the Mariners a slight top down. A little bit of a notch down. So I'd still put the Astros at the top.
Yeah.
But
my hopeful prediction is Mariners win the division. My more realistic prediction is they finish a close second.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd take them probably right around 3 or 4, 5 games out. 5 games out. Jump to the last team of the division, the Astros. World Series champs.
Yeah, the Death Star.
The reigning World Series champs, which they have injuries going into the season.
Yes, that's really the only interesting thing to talk about. Altuve in the World Baseball Classic broke his thumb. Brantley is recovering from shoulder surgery. And
Tucker and Alvarez were hurt in spring training too. But they're supposed to be healthy. Right. I was reading today. This should be ready to go.
What's there to say about the Astros at this point? They're pitching... I don't know where they find these guys. They're pitching...
Develop guys.
Mow down everyone in the postseason.
They develop talent. They sign guys that obviously perform and do well.
Yeah.
They just added Jose Abreu, so their lineup got even better.
Yeah.
Did lose a couple pieces too, but...
So
they lost Christian Vasquez, right?
Vasquez, Mancini, who were both playing first base. So with Jose Abreu, I think that's a pretty lateral move. The biggest loss... is Verlander.
Verlander,
I
yep.
mean, and they didn't replace him with anyone, really.
Yeah, just hoping Valdez takes another step up.
Yeah, but it's almost like it doesn't matter because, I mean, you saw in the World Series, it didn't matter how bad Verlander pitched.
No, it didn't. They scored runs. Look at that lineup. Jeez. That lineup's nuts. I mean, you got Jeremy Pena, rookie, last year, was actually the World Series MVP last year.
Yeah.
He's coming in, going to be the leadoff hitter. Then you got Bregman, Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, another guy played Team USA, Jose Abreu, McCormick's good. Hensley's, I don't even know Hensley. But
Hensley is backing up just because Altuve's hurt.
I don't know who Hensley is. But he's probably going to be good. Realistically, knowing them, somehow they find talent. 345 and 29 at bats last year. I mean, it's just surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
6'6" second baseman. Jeez, dude.
Yeah, they have.
No one's hitting the line.
Every year they have at least 7 guys hitting above average, and I would not doubt.
McCormick's good too.
Yeah, I mean they're just talented. They do everything right somehow, and they're all former cheaters.
That's
moving on.
For them. All right, AL East. So we'll jump. We'll talk AL East lightly with the other teams. They're going to probably do mostly Yankees, Red Sox. We already did take out. Hold on, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but talk very lightly. I guess about the Orioles. We'll start off with lightly. Very young team, have a bright future. 8 prospects in the top 100, top 100 MLB.com. And the one thing about that team, I think the interesting thing is they were good last year when no one went in with expectations. Yeah. Now they have some expectations, so I know you think they could take a slight step back, right?
Well, it's not just so. I mean, last year,
which I would probably agree, they probably could be a little aggressive. Because I'm rooting for them to do better.
Yeah, I think they could do better. I think the concern is just that their bullpen pitched.
They traded everyone away.
They traded guys away, but they also pitched at a very high level that it's hard to imagine they replicate that again. It's possible.
They had a top 10 ERA in baseball last year.
Right. I mean, their pitching was really the star of the show, and the hitting was good, but it was mostly a few young standout players. It was mostly Cedric Mullins, Rushman, who only came in,
midway through the season.
And then
Mateo was actually solid. He killed the Sox a ton.
And that's, I mean,
Santander was hurt a little last year. He's a good player though. Mountcastle young, but strikes out a ton.
They've got a very solid lineup, and the biggest ad they'll be making is Gunnar Henderson at third. He didn't start. I think he
came up mid-season.
He didn't do much. He's going to be a full-time starter.
I think he came up right as we were coming back from school.
Yes.
Right, coming back. So, late August. He only probably only played about 15, 20 games. He's a number 1 prospect on MLB.com, though. So exciting times to be a Baltimore Orioles fan. 8 prospects in the top 100. I'm excited to see their future. You look at their rotation. Kyle Gibson's their number 1. Older guy. They paid him, I think it was a 1-year deal, $10 million. Yeah. He's their number 1 on opening day. It would have been John Means, but Means is out.
Means is still hurt.
Some time with Tommy John surgery.
They did lose...
one piece they did.
Jordan Lyles.
Yep, Jordan Lyles. Yep, he went somewhere else. Was it?
I was just looking at it.
It was the first first division we were talking about. Can't remember.
He went to the Royals.
Royals. Okay, yes, first division. I was going to say
and I think he's going to be their number 1.
Yeah, probably.
Putting that aside.
But team that is a bright future and good upside. I'm excited to see them.
This they're not listed here, but Grayson Rodriguez, the pitcher,
top prospect,
is probably going to come up as well and be a starter.
Yeah, they said he's not going to make the opening day roster, but he's probably going to be a short stint, a couple of starts.
They're going to work him in pretty quickly.
He's a top 10 prospect. They have 3 in the top 12 prospects. Yes. 2 that are coming. Obviously, Henderson's already on the team. Rodriguez is going to make it up this year, and then they have Matt Holliday's son.
Yes.
Jackson Holiday going to come up at some point.
So yes, very talented team, very young team. The only thing that will hold them back is their ownership not wanting to spend money.
Yes.
That's what it really comes down to.
They're afraid to, which it's tough, I guess, a small market team. They should have spent this year and got a big pitcher. I thought they should have got
they didn't spend any money.
That's what I wanted them to do.
They could have spent money, because it's got to emphasize they're paying no one right now.
No one, yeah. I mean,
they have like $30 million in payroll right now, which is nothing.
And Cedric Mullins is under arbitration, not going to be arbitration eligible, or for free agent 2027. So he's going to be making $2, $3, $4 million.
I think Adam Frazier's actually they got him for a trade. So no, they're paying no one.
Literally no. I mean, everyone's young. Henderson's young. Hayes is young. Mountcastle's young. Rutschman's young.
Yeah.
Irvin's young. Every one of that team's young.
So
most of these pitchers are first, second, third year guys.
I don't think this is going to be their year.
Couple years from now, though.
They're couple years. I mean, I don't think the rotation's there yet, but if they're not in the playoffs in 2 or 3 years, it's only because their ownership won't spend money. Because this is a very talented young core. 8 prospects
top 100. Jackson Holiday will be up in 2 years, so that team's going to be great. jump in. I know the Red Sox probably saved, so I guess Rays.
Yeah, let's talk Rays. Let's talk Rays.
We talk Rays. I mean, the Rays, like we always said, before we got in there, you had a great line. They always find a way to get 90 wins. So
it's almost like you don't even know what to say about them.
They made no moves in the offseason.
No
moves in the offseason. They actually lost guys, which
so they lost Kevin Kiermaier.
Kiermaier's gone. Yep.
G-Man Choi
for the Blue Jays. Kiermaier.
G-Man Choi by the end wasn't really starting, so whatever. Zunino at catcher.
He's gone. Yep.
Yarbrough and Kluber at pitcher.
Wow, that's a lot of losses there. But then every year they just have random prospects coming that are unreal. Yeah. It's just they're great. They're very good at being a small market team.
They did bring in Zach Eflin.
Yes, that's their probably main addition.
That was their big move.
Comes to their fourth starter. Looks like in the rotation here. So we can start off. I guess we can talk about a player or two in the lineup. Hunter Renfroe, I think, probably in my eyes right now, probably the best contact hitter in baseball. 1 or 2 years from now, I'd give him that. It's ridiculous. Right side and left side for the plate. He's an automatic. If he gets 5 at bats a game, he's an automatic. Just about 2 for 5 a night.
Another crazy young just phenom who coming up at 20 and being one of the best shortstops in the league.
Yeah, I think the main thing with him is the injuries, and that's why I'm not going to give him the title yet to be the best contact hitter since he really isn't fully healthy either of his last 2 seasons. But when he is on the field, you can't throw him an inside pitch. He's turning on it. You throw him an inside pitch. Right side or left side, it's going to be a home run. Realistically, if you give him a fastball at the letters high, he's taking it 420 feet.
Last year, basically every single one of their great players was hurt. Wander Franco was hurt for a good amount. Randy was hurt. Lau was hurt.
Yandy Diaz even.
Time. They were all hurt. It didn't matter. They found ways to win. They're going to find ways to win again. McClanahan
Shane McClanahan, Cy Young candidate.
Would have been I think, would have won the Cy Young had he not fallen off.
And Verlander was just
Verlander just had a ridiculous season. It's really just a question of what new players do they find that are going to, blow the doors off this year.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to find a new pitcher, and they're always going to find,
some prospects.
Yeah,
they're good at doing
it's just a fact of life.
I would agree. I'm with you.
Second or third place?
I would say second. I'd probably give them third. I honestly like the Orioles more, so I'd put the Orioles in. Wait a second, no, my predictions. I had a hot take, which, hold on, don't hold me to this yet, because I haven't given my full predictions yet I want to win-loss record just to do it, because I did it last year lightly, and even though not everything was, not much was accurate, I did a couple things. I had the Phillies win the World Series. I got a couple things right. So I said, I want to do that again this year. I want to actually put time into it. I don't want to just give it on the top of the head. But I said I was getting a little more hopeful in the Sox the last couple of weeks. I had the Sox at 4th in the division, which isn't crazy hopeful. It's all I have them winning the World Series. The Blue Jays taking a step back. I mean, the Rays taking a step back, being 5th in the division, which is a hot take, maybe. But the division's gonna be closer. Let's see, 3 through 5 is gonna be probably close.
The floor for the division is probably 74, 75 wins.
70.
So you could have 70. You could have over
81 wins and be 5 games out.
Right. Look at the Orioles last
from the second spot. So we're gonna be
it's gonna be a ridiculously tough division. That being said, I'm not...
You're probably not putting them at 50.
Well, it's just the Rays. I'm not going to say anything less than 90 wins because they just always do it.
They do it.
I don't know
every year. They do it. Jump to Toronto, I guess?
Yeah, we'll do Toronto and then we can...
Yeah, and we'll do Red Sox Yankees,
the fun stuff.
All right, Toronto. Once again, another team that's going to be great in this division. I mean, it's just stacked. You talk about their rotation. You talk about their lineup. Both are great. Talk about what they did in the offseason. They made some moves as well.
They made a bunch of moves.
Let you break down a couple of them.
So they added Chris Bassett from the Mets, who did a lot of great work. I mean, he was at times their number one because of all their injuries. Great pitcher.
They wanted him back, too.
Yeah. They traded for Dalton Varsho from Arizona, who I don't know if people are aware of him. I'm aware of him mainly because of fantasy.
Yeah.
He is starting left fielder. He is also a catcher. Great power hitter.
27 home runs last year.
Right. And just gives them flexibility, too. Who else? Added Kevin Kiermaier. He's going to be playing center field for them. Added Brandon Belt from the Giants, who has fallen off but is still a very solid player. He's probably going to be their starting first baseman.
1 year, $9 million.
Not starting DH. Obviously, Vlad is their first baseman.
1 year, $9 million he got, so it's not a bad deal for Belt.
Yeah.
Belt will be DH. You got it.
Yeah, and they added Chad Green from the Yankees, which
is good reliever.
He's not the best reliever, but he eats innings every year. If you look over the last few years, Chad Green almost always leads relievers in innings pitched. He's just a great piece to have.
Yeah, I like him a lot myself.
They did lose Teoscar Hernandez.
Traded them. Yep.
Yeah.
They got back a reliever, which
Gurriel.
Lourdes Gurriel's going, right?
Tapia and Stripling was
Yes.
a big loss for relievers, I believe.
Tapia's the Red Sox now, yep.
He is? I didn't even know
Red
that.
Sox, yeah. He just made the roster over Jarren Duran, which I was a little sad about, but...
He's a pretty solid player. I mean,
he is. They traded for Eric Swanson and got a minor leaguer and Eric Swanson back.
Yeah, and Swanson's a solid.
He's good. He had under 2 ERA. They got the bullpen, so right around there. So, yeah, I mean, their lineup, too, is great. Matt Chapman. Whit Merrifield's their projected 8th hitter in the lineup, which is nuts.
Well,
he did take a step back.
I got to say, last year he was pretty atrocious. But
considering he's your 8th hitter.
That's a guy with a lot of upside. That's a guy with a ton of upside.
250 batting average is better. He's usually a 300 guy.
Yeah.
Hit 306, though, in spring training and 36 at bats. So, hopefully get him back on track. 673 OPS last year was not great for a guy that was a perennial all-star just about every year when he was in Kansas City.
I think and then the rotation.
Manoah is great.
Manoah, Gausman, and then I think the issue with the rotation, like we were discussing off air, they've got a lot of question marks at that bottom. Barrios
can't say healthy, even when he's healthy, he's not good.
was real bad last year. There's no getting around it, and I think there's reasons to think he'll figure it out, but...
Jeez, 5.23 ERA. Last year, 32 starts, too. It wasn't like it was a small sample. It was 32 starts, 12-7 record, 12 wins, 7 losses, but still.
Yeah. Chris Bassett, solid, but not exceptional. And then Kikuchi, another guy who
got from Seattle.
Yeah.
6-7 record, 6 wins, 7 losses, 5.19 ERA. It was not good last year. Another guy took a step back. But spring training, 7 games, .87 ERA.
Who knows?
So, I mean, spring training is small sample. You can't really base your prediction off that. But
concerns because while Manoah and Gausman are two excellent pitchers, Manoah's an ace, Gausman's a borderline ace.
Right there, yeah.
The rest of the rotation is a big question mark to me. And their bullpen's great.
Yeah, their bullpen's great.
Romano's great, and then adding Swanson, I think
Romano's one of the best closers in baseball, yeah.
Yeah, I think that won't be an issue. I think the issue is going to be bottom rotation and...
Health, probably, too. George Springer's always hurt.
Yes, health, and do they just put it together? Because I don't know how to put it, but they're always talented, and then they just don't put it together.
Literally, in my notes, I said they seem to always find a way to lose in the playoffs. Every year they make moves in the offseason. Active buys in the trade deadline and in the offseason and don't win. That's same exact line as you said. Because every year the trade deadline is the Blue Jays had the biggest trade deadline. Every year they make moves. Besides, the Padres probably the biggest trade deadline last year, but... Besides that, though, the Blue Jays are always right there,
active,
making moves, and they always find a way to lose. But maybe this is the year that they turn things around.
They're talented. It's tough. Obviously, it's a ridiculously tough division, but they're so talented that the fact that they're always stuck in wild card games and like having this shit happen to them, it's concerning. They did fire their manager.
Yep.
They brought in someone new. I don't recall who.
They fired Charlie Montoyo, and they brought in originally their bench coach. Let me see. I think it was their bench coach that was there. John Schneider, yep.
Okay. I think they definitely needed a change. Firing a manager, even if, regardless of what the manager's doing, sometimes you just need to shake things up.
To get something different. Right?
Yeah. We'll see. I don't want them to win. I like the players, but they're in my division. So.
But you said it perfectly about getting a new manager. Sometimes that flips the team's mindset. Tony La Russa's gone, the White Sox play better. The Raiders... 2 years ago when Gruden gets fired, Versace or whatever steps in, right? They can have a good team. I mean, sometimes a change of scenery, not change of scenery, change of a voice in the locker room makes a difference. So maybe Schneider was the guy for them. They end up turning it around. They were on, I believe, 9 out of 11 losses they had, an 11-game stretch with Montoyo fire him, and they actually fired Montoyo the day they won a game. They fired him anyways, but hey, sometimes how it goes.
Yeah. They're a team who I would not be they are absolutely capable of winning 100 games.
Yep.
But I have to see them do it. I'm not going to predict them doing that.
Yeah, ton of offense.
They just seem like a 90-win team to me because that's what they've done the last few years.
I would agree. I'm with you there.
They're kind of the inverse Rays. Like the Rays find ways to win 90 games. The Blue Jays find ways to lose 70 games.
You're right. It's a reverse. It's a reverse. It's a good point. You're accurate with that.
I think that's all. I know.
We can dive into the Sox first, and then do Yankees last.
Yeah, sure.
Well, dive into the Sox. Obviously, not really that active an offseason considering the Red Sox came in with expectations of hopefully bringing back Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers. They get Bogaerts back. Get Devers back. Excuse me, wrong. Apologize. They get Devers back on a big deal. 10 years, $313 million. which is actually the biggest deal they've given out during the Chaim Bloom era. Second largest deal is Trevor Story, and Trevor Story got that 6-year, $140 million deal and does not look like he will be back till very late in the season if he were to be back after UCL surgery or some elbow surgery he got. That was not Tommy John surgery, but they say it's very close to it, but it'll be better. And whatever it may be, best of luck to him in his recovery. But just another player on the Red Sox that we find ways to get hurt a lot of the time with some of our Red Sox players. Bogarts would be playing with wrist soreness every year, so it's nothing we're not used to. But considering we have guys like Chris Sale that are injury prone, adding a guy like Trevor Story to that list is tough. But Chris Sale, fully healthy coming into the season, did have a couple good spring training games. The last few of them might have been a little rocky. I think he finished spring training with around a 4.5 ERA. But I did watch his first two starts in spring training when I was home, and he looked great. The slider looked great. He was up at 95, 96 with a fastball. He looked confident. Looked like he was trying to get batters out last year when he was playing. I mean, he only had 2 or 3 starts. Struggled to find the zone sometimes. Then the fluke injury takes a ball off the wrist off the bat of, it was Aaron Hicks, I believe.
It was, yes.
Line drive, rocket right off the wrist. Fluke injury, nothing you can really do there. I do have high expectations of Chris Sale coming to the season, which I didn't think I was going to. At the end of last season, I said, I gave my off-season talk, and I said, do not have expectations of Chris Sale. I somehow have high expectations for Chris Sale going into the season. Don't think he's going to be the Cy Young winner, but I think if he were to stay healthy, I think he'd be somewhat within the top 5 to 7 range, which isn't crazy because usually a lot of guys in that mix.
You have to hope so. I mean,
you would hope
he
considering
has the talent.
Considering the Red Sox rotation, I mean, he's the only guy I really have much hope for there. Probably, I mean, Bayo's hurt, Paxton's injured, Garrett Whitlock being the rotation, being the bullpen rotation.
Yeah.
Corey Kluber was our opening day starter. Pivetta, very shaky last year, was hot to the start of the season, really tailed off. Tanner Houck looked great during his first couple of years of the Red Sox, battled injuries last year, and then in spring training, struggled this year. And I'm going to tell you the spring training numbers here. 9.74 ERA in spring training in 6 games, 1-3 record. 25 strikeouts and 20 in a third innings pitch, which is good, but that 1.92 whip was not great. But 3.15 ERA in 32 games last year, 4 starts, 5-4 record. Not a great spring training. That's the highest ERA I've seen a guy have in spring training that made more than 3 or 4 starts. And that's with
not what you want to say.
Was it 9 starts? I say it was.
I think it was 6.
6 was 6 starts. Okay, 9 ERA, 6 starts. So I'm not really too sure what to think about how he's going to play. I do think the rotation is going to be better than what people give him credit for. I don't think it's going to be a rotation that's going to take over the AL, but I think they'll be serviceable enough. I think the offense is a little bit more of an issue in my eyes. You have Alex Verdugo be the leadoff hitter. That's what I want. I love Verdugo leadoff. Best contact hitter on the team in my eyes. And I think he's going to have a lot better of a batting average with the shift being banned. Rafael Devers, now you go lefty-lefty. That's why Yoshida's batting 4th, because they don't want to go lefty-lefty-lefty. So they're going to have Yoshida bat 4th, which I'm fine with. Justin Turner tailing off, I think. I don't think he's going to have that really high of expectations in my eyes.
Yeah.
Adam Duvall regressed last year from Miami. I believe it was the Braves coming from Miami. Not a great season last year.
He fell off pretty hard.
I think it was 15 home runs, somewhere around there, roughly.
Most of them the first half of the season.
Yes, drilled it. Tristan Casas hit a home run today in spring training. He's a bright piece in that lineup, batting 6th, playing first base. Going to be better offensively and defensively than what we had with French Cordero last year, who was just cut by the Orioles, and then also better than probably what we have with Bobby Dahlbeck, who Dahlbeck actually played better in spring training. Will be starting in AAA, as with Jarren Duran. Jarren Duran looked really good in spring training, was batting with Raymond Tapia for the last opening day roster spot. I wanted Durant to get it just because I like Durant more, but Tapia probably is the better player. All in all, that's my thoughts on the Red Sox lineup. Kike Hernandez, thank God, is the 9th hitter in this projection. Him batting, Kike batting first, you might as well give us an out to start the game. I always said that. Give us an out to start the game. Let the team start with 0. Start the next guy up, 0-0 count with 1 out. That would be Verdugo, I guess, if you were to bat Kike first. It would be Verdugo batting second if you were to flip the order. I'm happy he's 9th in the projections. But he's going to be the shortstop with Bogarts being gone and Trevor Story being hurt. What are your thoughts on the Sox? Coming from a Yankees fan, I know probably not going to be the highest of thoughts, but I usually give an unbiased opinion, though. So I'll give you. What do you think of that lineup?
I think
rotation.
Vegas thinks they're going to be last in the division.
They do. We're lowest in win total. Yep.
It's definitely a strong possibility. I think there's a lot of possibilities. Just you have Yoshida's coming in from Japan. I
think he's gonna be legit.
Yeah, and you never know with these guys. I mean, look at Seiya last year. He started off the hottest player in baseball.
Fell off.
You don't know. Tristan Casas, highly touted prospect. I did pretty well.
Top 25 MLB prospect. Yeah, he had 4 home runs in spring training, 10 RBIs, 333 batting average, and 1013 OPS.
Yes.
That's just all of spring training, 57 at-bats. Last season, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs. Here's the thing, the batting average is not great, 197. He got on base so much with walks, 358 on base percentage.
Right, and you see that number, it's like...
He was very patient at the plate.
Right, which is good. It's a good thing to see.
By the end of the year, he looked better.
You got to think that the batting average you can figure out. If he's getting on base that much, even hitting 200, like...
Yeah.
That's, I think, what you want to see from a young guy.
I mean, the 4 home runs in spring training, the 5 home runs, 76 at-bats, pretty impressive. He shows power.
I think 4 of those home runs in the regular season were against the Yankees, too.
I think 3 or 4
maybe I'm biased because he's just killing us, but...
I think he can get around 25, 30 home runs this year. 30 might be a lot. 26, 27 probably my projection. But
he's a guy with a lot of potential.
And he's a top 25 prospect. They might be our highest prospect, so you got to hope he does well. What are your thoughts on that? I guess the bottom of the order, too, you could talk about Arroyo, Reese McGuire,
Well, I think
Kike.
it's also worth mentioning when Story comes back. He'll be...
Probably July, August. Probably July.
He'll be the second best hitter,
yeah,
most likely.
Probably our best power hitter besides Devers, too.
So, and again, you still have Devers.
We still have Devers. It's great. We're fine. Just a headset there, Phil. We're good. It's the headsets, as Joe Judge would say. It's these headsets. They said, Joe, why'd you call a timeout? Why'd you call a second timer for the end of that? It's these headsets.
No one is going to understand that besides us.
No one's going to get it. Joe Judge, former Giants head coach, probably shouldn't have been, but he was there for the memes. He was obviously funny with his interviews. He blamed the headsets for the reason why the Giants lost a game and used multiple timeouts when they shouldn't have in the first half and in the second half. We used 2 timeouts in the third quarter at one point in one game. But anyways, we'll get back on track with the Red Sox. You make a good point, though, about that Sox lineup, and Devers being basically the only power hitter there.
Yes.
Because when Trevor Story gets back, we'll add a power. He's probably not going to be a 35 home run hitter, Story, but 20-25 I'll take from him.
And he's very solid.
He got very hot last year. He had 7 home runs in a 3 or 4 game stretch last year.
He was a very bright light in the season. The rotation
I want to get your thoughts on the rotation.
Really concerning. Corey Kluber
is the one. His opening day start. I think Sale's the one, but they're going to have Sale be the second guy.
The issue with Kluber is that at this point, he can give you good starts, but your bad starts are going to be like atrocious.
You don't rely on him.
With the year he was with us, and then the year he just had with the Rays, if guys are making contact, it's over. Like he doesn't. Yeah. All he has is if he's pinning those corners and he's
locating.
Right. If he's locating, he's fine.
Average last year, 10-10 record, 4.4 ERA average.
And that's fine for your start.
Yeah, 4th or 5th starter, but you're number 1 or 2. He's probably out 2. I think Sil is the one, but Sil originally had a setback, so they said, Kluber, you'll be the opening day starter. They announced it last week. You'll be the opening day starter, which Sil will be fine for opening day. But what do you think of that, I guess, the bottom of the rotation, Pivetta, Houck, Crawford? I mean, Houck showed spurts of flash of greatness. I said 2 years ago, which might have been jumping the gun, I still think his movement could be a potential Cy Young candidate, but I don't think he's going to be a Cy Young candidate probably, but he has the movement. His breaking stuff is ridiculous. It's just... He can't locate the zone. He's getting hit hard, giving up home runs spring training. Yeah. Gave 6 runs yesterday, 5-6 runs yesterday. I'm concerned about him right now. My dad even is a little concerned as well, even though we probably both agree he'll get back on track. But you don't want to see a guy have that bad of a spring because going into the season, you're trying to figure things out in the spring.
Yeah.
You don't want to be figuring things out in the season.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And that's what we're doing with the rotation.
I think of the guys in the bottom half of the rotation, Houck is the most interesting. I think he is the most upside. Since it seems like Whitlock is just a permanent closer now.
He'll be a closer. He's coming off an injury. He'll be out probably the first week or so of the season. He'll be back.
So
Bayo will be a rotation guy. Probably mix a bullpen in the rotation. Paxton will be in the rotation. He'll probably take Crawford's spot.
Looking at the list right now, it's like none of them look great. I have a feeling that by the end of the season, one of them will be an established starter. Between Pivetta, Houck, Crawford, Bayo.
Bayo's a top 100 prospect, too.
They're all young guys. One of them will figure it out at least.
Definitely. Bayo struggled last year for the Sox. 2-8 record, 4.71 ERA, 13 games played, 11 starts. He was a top 100 prospect. I don't think he's actually eligible anymore. But 1.78 whip last year, too. He did struggle with walks. But 55 strikes and 57 third innings pitched. Yeah. Does have good breaks up, can get up to 99, 100. But obviously you got to find a way to control it. But I think the main thing with the Sox is, the pitching's not... I think here's the thing. The pitching isn't great there if you look at their rotation, right? Kluber, Sale, Pivetta, Houck, Crawford, and then you add in Paxton and Bayo with Whitlock being in the bullpen. It's not great. I think it'll be better than what most people are predicting, but I don't think it's going to be great. I think I'm more concerned about that lineup, actually. I think scoring runs may be more of an issue. Arroyo, not really great hitter. He's shown spurts. Actually, good fielder. Seems like a great guy in the locker room. Everyone loves him. Everyone's a big fan of him in the locker room. He seems like a good guy to be around. Kike in the lineup. Adam Duvall strikes out a ton. Justin Turner was regressing in LA, which is hard to believe because the Dodgers is where everyone flourishes. You never really regress in LA.
Well, he's old.
He is old, 36.
30,
I think 36 years old, I think it was. So on the older side, but I do worry, though, about that Sox lineup. But I would say this. As of now, I would have the Sox fourth in the division. I would have Tampa Bay at fifth. This might change by Thursday when I go more into diving. Maybe it's just wishful thinking here, but I think the Sox will have over their win total, 76.5 wins. I think they'll have around 78 to 80. Maybe just over.
I would probably go slightly. I would probably go 74.
So just around it.
Just around.
I mean, the division is tough. Less divisional games, which is huge
true.
for us.
That is
Less
true.
divisional games. 74 divisional games last year to it's 47 now or something.
Yeah, that is gigantic because it means more games against the extremely weak Central divisions.
It's 19 games per team, so it went from 76, or now it's 76, I guess, right? So you play each team 4 times, so it'd be 76 games now in your division, which is great, which is huge for the Sox.
I think they struck off what it used to be.
It was 52 now, so it's 76. I'm sorry, I was wrong here. It was 76 last year, now it's 52, so 24 games they cut.
Right.
Then you add more games against the NL, so you play every team at least once.
Which is definitely an advantage.
For the Red Sox.
Yes.
Great for us. Bad for the other teams in the AL that beat up on us, the AL East. But
their shortstop prospect.
Marcelo Meyer.
Has he been playing?
He is going to be coming up probably, I'd imagine. If he's going to come up this season, be middle of the season. Yeah. I'd imagine next season.
Was he in spring training?
He was in spring training. I don't know if he played much, though, at all. Let me see. Let's see. It's a great question, though, honestly, because I didn't really hear much about him. I actually, gun to my head, I'd say he didn't. Yeah, he didn't play in spring training much. 3 hits, 9 and 9 at bats. So, yeah, not much.
Right.
That would have been my guess. Not really much. 3 hits and 9 at bats.
I did not realize he was only 20.
Yeah, he's young. He's going to be a year away.
That does explain it.
One more year away. Came right out of high school.
Yeah.
Signed right away. If you look at his stats, though, in AA, AAA, it was high A, not AA. High A shows what a power, 4 home runs. Did struggle a little bit in high A with the strikeouts. 29 strikeouts to just 17 walks. He does strike out a little. But, I mean, hey, it's 25 games, small sample size. I think he will be good, though.
Yes.
Number 1 prospect in the Red Sox farm system, top 10 in the MLB.
Yes.
So he'll be a year away, though. They're not going to rush him.
Yeah.
High A, he'll probably be maybe a year and a half.
For a shortstop, there's no reason to rush.
I mean, if he were to come up, I'm talking about the beginning of the season, obviously, but I'd imagine probably next year at this point. If he's high A last year, probably start in Double A, probably do well in Double A, get to Triple A by the end of the year.
Triple A by the end of the year.
Maybe if we were doing great by the end of the season, he was looking polished, and we need a spring call up. Maybe that's very wishful thinking. Probably beginning next season.
I could even see that, regardless of how the team's doing. I mean, if they think he's ready, it's not like you have
that's
someone.
Casas.
It's not like you're begging to
Christian Arroyo.
It's not like you're begging to keep Arroyo and Kike in. Like
second
if
short in the middle
if you think he
infield.
could play shortstop or second this year, like give him a shot.
Yeah.
There's no harm in it.
I would agree.
But
so that's a Red Sox breakdown. I mean, we'll see how they do. But they do start opening day Thursday, 2:05, I believe it is, against the Orioles. It will be Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Orioles versus Corey Kluber for the Red Sox. So what a matchup.
Exciting. Is that in Fenway?
At Fenway.
Awesome.
Thursday. So I want to jump to the Yankees, talk about them really quick before we close out. Which the Yankees, there's actually a lot to talk about the Yankees. I mean, you can start off with the injuries, which is tough.
Yeah.
Or you can talk about their offseason. Re-signing Aaron Judge, re-signing Anthony Rizzo. Obviously, Volpe now being in the lineup. Volpe made the team, which is huge. Top prospect, rookie. I'll let you start. You're the Yankees guy.
I think
the
best place to start is the injuries because right now, 3 of our projected starters are hurt. That's Frankie Montas, who's been hurt since
shoulder injury.
Yes.
Rodon was, I think it was
honestly, I appreciate you looking up. Don't even bother. Because
soreness, you probably don't want to hear it.
With when it comes to the Yankees, it's always soreness 3 to 4 weeks. It doesn't
left
matter.
Forearm muscle strain for Rodon.
Yeah.
And then shoulder surgery for Montas, and then lat injury for Severino, which Luis Severino just suffered that recently, right? Last week.
This is just you're at this point you're used to it. You know that it's going to happen. Yankees have 3 starters down, and the season just started. It's fine.
I'll say this though: you look at their rotation. Garrett Cole being the 1, Nestor Cortez being the 2, Domingo Germán being the 3. For what it could be worse.
Yes,
I would say
that's I don't like to complain because it sounds spoiled. They still got plenty of good pitchers, but it is annoying seeing your 2 and 3 starters go down, and then I don't know what they were doing with Montas. Anyway,
Montas was originally a month or 2, and then he gets surgery. Now he's out till mid-season, late in the season. I don't know.
Knows?
He wasn't great after the trade, though.
No, he was atrocious.
From the A's.
He was really atrocious. So it's not like I'm super bummed that he's not pitching. but they're going to be crunched for pitchers right now, especially since the Montas trade sent most of our pitching depth to the A's.
Yep.
We would have been pulling up J.P. Sears or Waldashuk. Now we're probably going to be pulling up like Luis Heel, who is, at this point, probably a career AAA player. Clark Schmidt is a weird one. He's did well in the bullpen.
5-5, yeah.
Yeah, he did really well in the bullpen. As a starter, he wasn't as great, but he's only just coming up out of AAA, so there's potential there. I like him.
I mean, especially considering you need someone in that's had some experience, at least someone. He pitched in spring training a little, 3 starts last year in the regular season, so that's good. Then obviously he's gotten a little bit of help, but Domingo Ramon's serviceable.
Oh, for sure.
I like Ramon, as a player, but he's had his issues off the field.
Yeah,
as a player, he has a ton of movement.
Thing. It's like I wish we didn't have to rely on him. For
3.61 ERA last year on 14 starts, 2-5 record. You look at his strikeouts, 58 and 72 thirds innings pitched. The strikeouts really weren't as there as they typically are with his movement, but does have good stuff. Obviously, his off the field issues, and that's the problem. But.
I think the most interesting thing about the current lineup is the situation in the infield. So the Yankees started Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at shortstop last year.
IKF.
He's not good.
Yeah, honestly, I thought his glove was better than it was.
He looked...
It's an all right glove, right?
He looked good. He's fine at getting to the ball. He just doesn't have the arm strength to be a shortstop. It's not... And this is not blaming him.
He was just throwing that because Glaber couldn't do it.
He's a career third baseman. Why he got slotted in at shortstop, I'll never know. But that was the situation. Just another Cashman masterpiece. But now the situation is completely different because the Yankees' 2 top prospects are Anthony Volpe, who just was announced, made the opening day roster.
Very impressive spring.
Which is crazy. He's only 21, I think.
21 years old, yep.
Yeah. So he's...
spring training, look at that.
Jeez. He's
born April 28th, 2001.
A month older than me.
New Jersey kids are probably going to be Yankees fans. Went to Del Barton High School, too, which is crazy. Which is a lot of BC kids that went to Del Barton. 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 309 batting average, and a 1033 OPS with a 415 on base percentage in spring training. Very impressive. Yes. I was honestly... I wasn't shocked that he made it. Like I know it was big news, but I was like, he has to make it. Hitting that, right. He has to.
Well,
right?
in the past, the Yankees have been very slow to pull up prospects, and the other issue is that there's just such a logjam in the Yankees infield right now. At first base, it's obviously Rizzo. There's no question about that. At second base,
could be DJ.
At the whole left side of the diamond, so you have second base. Current starter is Gleyber Torres, but you also have DJ LeMahieu, who's been filling in everywhere. He can play first, second, or third.
Short, anywhere,
he can't really play short anymore.
Yeah.
In a pinch, he might, but...
He's really a second or third baseman, right? First, too,
naturally, he's more of a second or third baseman.
Finally have him healthy.
Right, you want him in the lineup because he's great at getting on base. So whether he's DHing or whatever, you want him in the lineup. And then, at shortstop, IKF started last year, probably not going to be playing.
He's a bench piece.
Yeah, he's a bench piece, whatever. He's going to be doing whatever. But then you have Peraza, who is less of a hitter.
Oswaldo, right?
Yeah, Oswald Peraza.
And then you have
Oswaldo Cabrera.
2 different ones. They're both on the team, right? So one of them will make it, one won't, right?
I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. Peraza is considered to be the better glove. And that's an issue because for right now, Volpe makes more sense because you run into, let's say.
This has Oswaldo Cabrera in it, which I don't know if this is official.
I don't doubt it because...
This is projections, though, so nothing's official just yet.
It's possible.
As you were saying, though.
Anyways, issue being, so you have Peraza, who is considered to be a better glove than Volpe. And then you have Volpe, obviously, who wasn't really expected to make the roster until he had a great spring training. And then you have the issue at third base, which is that Josh Donaldson is starting. And, that's the only way to put it. Josh Donaldson at this point is probably the 4th best third baseman on this roster because DJ is absolutely a better third baseman. Peraza is probably a better third baseman, and Volpe is also probably a better
third baseman, yeah.
Josh Donaldson...
IKF you probably could throw there, maybe.
I mean, he is a career third... Josh Donaldson is not a good hitter anymore. That's the primary issue. He's still
He's
great.
washed, was he 36, 37?
He's still a great defensive third baseman, which I don't want to undervalue, but he's not a good hitter anymore, and we have so many options in the infield. If he is starting, it's a real problem.
The power is, falling off a little bit, 15 home runs last year, but 4 in spring training this year, but the batting average is tough, 222. That's in the middle of the lineup, too, 4 or 5 hitter,
exactly.
which is tough. I mean, he was 3, 4, 5, depending on the lineup. With all the injuries the Yankees had last year, he was moving around 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
But typically in the middle of that order, in 222, you really don't want there. 682 OPS. But in spring training, 985 OPS, 4 home runs, 39 at-bats. I'd imagine the true batting average would come down with more at-bats realistically.
Right. So the real question for the Yankees when it comes to the infield is how do you make all this work? The issue being that although Volpe is the inferior glove to Peraza, Volpe doesn't really have the arm to be a third baseman.
It's tough to throw a guy at the hot corner too, right? Shortstop's tough, but third base is really hard to throw a guy in it.
So naturally, the solution would be, okay, you play Peraza at short, then you play Volpe at second, but then you have Glaber's the odd man out.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you need to work LeMahieu in there. So what I would hope happens is at some point, Volpe takes over at second. Peraza, Peraza at the end.
He did play a little last year.
He was playing at shortstop in the postseason and made great plays. I would hope he's the shortstop. And then hopefully LeMahieu at third. And
at this point, Donaldson the odd one out?
Well, Donaldson and Glaber. Is Glaber probably the odd man out at this point? And
he's only got a year left, right, in his deal.
He's only got a year left in his deal, and he's been hitting well.
Better last year, 24 home runs, which is good, but the 242 batting average of spring training isn't the best. But, I mean, at the end of the day, small samples, as we've said 100 times, which he'll still be the starter probably anyway, second base, no matter what he hit in spring training. But
yes.
Realistically, like you're saying, though, expectations-wise, I mean, you probably could throw him out, and he could be the odd one out by June.
It's tough. It's tough to see him fitting in when you have 2 guys right underneath him ready to play, and it just makes so much sense to move him at the trade deadline because there's going to be a team that needs an infielder,
and he has the chance to. I mean, he hit 38 home runs his second year in the MLB 2019. Since then, he hasn't hit 38 home runs combined over those 3 years. 36 home runs over the last 3 seasons between 2020 2022 combined.
But he is still a good hitter.
I was going to say 24 home runs last year. Someone could take that power.
The issue is that he picks 1 month a year to be the worst hitter in baseball.
And does struggle with errors sometimes, too. But he got better with second base.
Yes. Last year was actually one of his best years defensively. But he's just the odd man out when you have Volpe having an incredible spring training, Peraza already proving that he can be a major league shortstop. It's a question of who's getting out of the way to make room for them. It's probably got to be Glaber, and it's got to be Josh Donaldson to me.
I mean, Glaber's still only 26 years old. Someone probably take him just for that. He's only 26.
He's
young. Devers is 25.
Glaber came up at like 20.
20, yeah. And he was actually mashing 24 home runs as a rookie.
It's like ancient history now.
271 batting average. It does feel like 10 years ago. That was 2018.
Because he came to us in the Aroldis Chapman deal that sent him
to the Cubs. Yep, 25 games.
The year after that, after the Cubs won the World Series, he was starting for us at shortstop.
Chapman signed back too.
Right. Yes. So he's an experienced starter, even though he's only 26. So I think there will be teams that want him, and it's tough because I don't dislike him, but how do you keep him when you've got all these talented players behind him? That's just the way I feel about it.
I would agree, especially with the young talent you guys have. He'd probably be the odd man out, and he'd probably, if you guys want to rebuild that farm system, maybe take a couple prospects.
Yeah.
Shoot on a 12th and 15th prospect.
We always need more relievers. You always need more pitchers.
That's true. You do.
You know,
and one guy we didn't mention that you got at the trade deadline last year, you traded Jordan Montgomery to the St. Louis Cardinals for Harrison Beta. I liked Beta. I know it was very small sample size. You could do something like that where you say, mid-season, we need a reliever. We need a fourth starter or fifth starter because so-and-so's hurt. You traded for a back-end fifth starter, and who knows? I mean, Beta's solid.
Bader's currently injured.
Nothing got hurt. Great glove, though.
Excellent glove. Did great in postseason last year. But that does mean that Judge will probably be starting in center field again.
Which he's better in right, though, right?
He's much better in right. He's, passable in center, but you don't want him. You want him in right field, and you want Bader with his glove in center, and then hopefully Stanton in left, although...
Yeah,
who knows what's going on?
Stanton, Giancarlo, it's right field as of now, Giancarlo. But What are your thoughts on Judge? He had 62 runs obviously last year, 131 RBIs, 311 batting average. We'll close out in a second. I know you were psyched. Obviously, he was re-signed. You had to re-sign him.
Absolutely.
It didn't really matter what the check was. Give him a blank check. You have to keep a guy, especially a fan favorite, and especially a fan favorite in the game of baseball. I think everybody respects Aaron Judge. Whether you're a Yankees fan, you're a Red Sox fan, Mets fan, everybody respects Aaron Judge. He's a great guy, great leader, great play. You had to re-sign him. Astros production on the field, obviously, that speaks for itself. 64 runs last year, 62 AL record, beating Roger Maris, former Yankee. Do you think he gets anywhere close to 62? Let's say 50. Would you say it has around 50? I think his over-run is 47.5 in Vegas.
Without putting a number to the home run specifically, I think last year was...
I don't think anyone's going to get close to that. That's a tough question.
I don't think he will replicate last year ever. If he replicated last year, it would mean he's one of the best baseball players ever.
I think if he replicates even the RBIs or average, that would be great. If he represents in 311 batting average for his power is huge. There's not many powers that do that. The 11-11 OPS.
The only seasons offensively that are comparable to him are
Barry Bonds.
Well, but not even Barry Bonds is on another level, but it's McGuire's last MVP season.
Yeah.
Is
Sammy
Sosa. Yeah, or Bryce Harper, the one year he won MVP. That's last season.
2020,
right.
When it was, yeah. I would agree with you, though. It's hard to put a number on it. I would say 47 is a lot still to even put a number on.
I could see him hitting, honestly, I want to say 45.
That's what I was saying, 45 to 48. I'd say somewhere right around that range.
Because I think last year he was taking he took a lot more swings last year than he usually does. He was a lot more aggressive at the plate, and it worked out. Yes. But I think teams are just going to decide we'd rather
take a chance with him going outside.
We'd rather you have almost a 500 OBP than give you the chance to beat us with a home run.
Which he did actively against the other teams. I mean, he took over games.
Yeah.
He took over baseball, honestly. I mean, he was the talk of baseball. Him and, obviously, Ohtani, very close MVP race. Even though he deserved it, very close to Triple Crown, but Ohtani's hard to beat. It also took all that to beat him.
Yeah. I think he's going to have a season more comparable to, his last healthy season was
2021, 140 games,
39
home runs. Yeah, I think I'll have over that. I think he'll probably have around 45, 42. Right. But I think here's the thing: if he keeps the 311 batting average, I think that'd be even the most impressive thing. Because 311 for a power hitter, that's his best average of his career. Right. 287 was his best before that.
Yeah. And so one thing I want to point out: looking at the OBP.
His OBP, 425 last year.
Yeah.
425 on base percentage.
I think
slugging 686.
Yeah.
Killed it. I mean, killed baseball's leaderboards in batting on base percentage, slugging percentage, home runs.
Yeah.
So killed it.
I think his season's going to be more like his 21 season, just because he's going. He's
162 home runs.
No player can do that every year besides
Roger Maris and him.
Right. Exactly.
Once, yeah.
But he's still going to be our best player by far. I'm incredibly thrilled we re-signed him. And, it's really just a question of can we beat the Astros? It's the only question.
I would say...
It's the only question that any team in the AL should be asking themselves is can they beat the Astros? And I think the answer is probably no.
But if healthy, you guys have a better rotation than the Astros. I mean, I would say. Which rotation's important. It's not everything, but it's important. But I would say also hitting in the playoffs is important because the Astros... Even the pitching's back with some Verlander, they score 6-7 runs a game in the postseason just because they have Alvarez and Bregman and Altuve and
Pena.
And they just added Jose Abreu. I mean, it's nuts how good their lineup is. Kyle Tucker, McCormick. That's the problem. I think their pitching, obviously, you need to have good pitching.
Oh, and their pitching kills the
Yankees.
Specifically killed the Yankees. All their pitchers have great off-speed pitches that sink low in the zone. I don't think what's his name? Christian Javier. I had the misfortune of being at that game. The one Yankee game I go to this year is the no-hitter.
Yeah, when he went off, right?
Yeah.
Threw a no-no in that game, then I think a combined no-no in the World Series, right? I think he did, which is nuts. Which is ridiculous. They find ways to win the race. I mean, the Astros. The Rays do too, but the Astros. I would say the main concern I'd say with them, I think you have a better rotation. I think the offense needs to be hot in the playoffs. Judge struggled in the playoffs. Stanton, I think, if I remember right, strong in the playoffs. It was really Bader was your best player in the playoffs.
It was Bader, and that's really the issue.
Most consistent, Trevino, I guess.
The real question for the Yankees this year is if their hitters 5 through 9 can be above average. Because, like, last year, you looked at it position by position. Judge was hitting out of his mind. Rizzo was hitting great. LeMahieu, when he was healthy, was hitting well. Stanton, when he was healthy, was hitting well. And then everyone else was hurt or hitting badly.
Jones and kind of Falefa, Hicks, Gardner. Brett Gardner was still on the team, right?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, he's gone.
Gardner's was
2
not.
years ago. Hicks was still, though. Hicks still in the lineup here.
You can't be a championship team with 4. It doesn't matter how great your first 4 hitters are if you have a black hole.
Look at the
bottom.
Angels.
Exactly.
The Angels they couldn't get over. And that's why they made a lot of moves getting Renfroe and getting Drury.
And that's, Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks was one of the worst hitters in baseball last year. If he is anywhere near the starting spot, that is a terrible issue.
He hit 216, 643 OPS, 8 home runs, 40 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, though, which is actually impressive. I didn't think he had much speed left, but he does.
Yeah.
33 years old, though, getting up in age. I'd imagine if there were to be a team that wants with a deadline, you'd probably be fine moving on from him. If there were to be a team. If there were to be.
Big F there.
If there were to be. You'd probably hope.
But. So the hope is that the Yankees, with an infusion of young talent, are able to hit above average, the rotation gets healthy, and
find ways to win.
Maybe this can be the year.
I think they're going to win the AL East, so that's a start. It's a great division. You've been in the AL East, you're already one of the best teams in the league because you're playing against the Rays and the Blue Jays. So I guess we'll see. Anything else you want to add in?
No, I think that about covers
Don't hold you a 2.5-hour episode, which is a great episode, but I obviously apologize for keeping you all night.
No, it's perfect.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen. Thank you so much, Dale, for coming in. New York Giants super fan, New York Yankees super fan. Obviously knows all his stuff, sports, you guys can tell. Love him in. Talk about the NFL draft probably in about 2 or 3 weeks from now. You're always welcome any Tuesday night you want to come in 7 to 8. So thank you for coming in, Dale. It's much appreciated. Thank you guys all for listening in. A few quick shout-outs to my family. My parents are listening in. All my siblings, thank you guys for listening. Auntie Lisa, the O'Malley family, my Uncle Frankie, thank you for listening in. I always give my whole shout-outs here, so I'm just running over everyone right now. The Key family, thank you guys so much for listening in. Trying to remember everyone here. The O'Malley family always listens in as well. And the Loftus family, always listening. So thank you guys for listening. Much appreciated. We'll be back next Tuesday night to talk all things sports from 7 to 8 on WZBC AM Sports Radio. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy opening day Thursday. Stay safe and stay well. Thank you.